Hello, my name is Ann Purvis, and I'm one of the leaders of the Toronto Field Naturalist Juniors program. This is our final slideshow of 2020. Winter is a little quieter for nature, although creatures that haven't migrated and aren't sleeping will be working harder than ever to survive. We start our show by investigating who is still out and about in the dark, snowy, cold months. Winter may also be a time when we can nail the idea of things that we have observed earlier in the year and begin to consolidate some of that information that we had started to gain. Winter is also a time of remembering. We finish our slideshow with highlights from past winter TFN events. But first, we want to give a big thanks to Sandra for the great nature journaling and drawing instruction. This is some drawings she submitted by Sienna, Alexi, and herself from our final drawing class. Does anyone recognize this? This is deer scat, and when I looked at this photo, I wondered, we have seen this before in some of our slideshows, but I wondered, why is this melted here? It could be that the deer actually peed as well as leaving scat. It could be that it's a mild day and water is dripping off the tree up above. It may also be that there's decay going on in the leaf litter here and it's warming up that spot and causing it to melt. Pamela and Amara provided this video of ruffed grouse tracks, which really helped with identifying this scat here. Ruffed grouse grow projections on their toes in the fall that double the size of their feet, and these act like snowshoes on the right kind of snow. If the snow is soft and deep, a ruffed grouse will tunnel into the snow and spend the night there. They eat tree buds all winter, particularly trembling aspen buds, which are quite large. So this scat would be full of fiber if we opened it up. Snow tracks are fun to try and figure out in winter. I believe these are rabbit tracks, tracks of a rabbit running, and we can see that it's actually galloping and its back feet are landing in front of its front feet. Its front feet are one behind each other behind the back feet. This looks like a raccoon track, 5 toes with a long palm. What are they doing at this time of year? Raccoons are active all winter. They hole up in a den overnight or for a lengthier period if it's very cold and snowy. They don't use the same den every night. Skunks prefer ground dens and opossums tree dens, but raccoons will use either. And all of these 3 animals will all use all of the dens in a given area. So it's possible that one den could be inhabited by an opossum one night and a raccoon the other. And a skunk den could also be inhabited by a raccoon the following night. This is an orange jelly fungus, which appears to be fruiting on an evergreen tree. There is a look-alike fungus that fruits on hardwoods. So jelly fungi swell up when it's wet and shrivel up when it's dry. So I'm assuming this was a mild day and there was a lot of moisture in the air, since when it's quite cold the air gets very dry, so this fungus wouldn't be showing like that, wouldn't be displaying like fruiting like this. So winter is also a time when we can begin to go back to some of the things we were trying to learn in this summer and straighten out the details. So my challenge for this past summer was to learn more details about bumblebees, grasses, and shrubs. So grasses are actually still quite easy to look at in the wintertime, since they still often have their seeds. This is Canada rye. It has a heavy seed head that sort of bends over like this. So grasses are very important for our butterflies called skippers. So winter is a chance to remember and return to happy memories. So I visited Humber Bay Park recently and took this video of the wood duck. So wood ducks do nest around here. They're hole nesting ducks, and the babies actually jump from the hole about 30 feet up in the air. But they don't spend the winter around here, so we were very surprised to see this wood duck in Humber Bay Park so late in the season. So sometimes we might get frustrated when we go duck watching that the Arctic nesting ducks that are only here during the winter, and we might especially want to see them, are far out in the water and can only be seen with binoculars, whereas our mallards and geese are always close to shore. The real difference between these ducks is that mallards are dabbling ducks, along with gadwalls and some others, and get their food from very close to the surface. So they paddle like mad to keep their tail up in the air and then graze on algae and insects and invertebrates that are right under the surface of the water. Whereas the Arctic nesting ducks that visit us in the winter are all diving ducks, and they're diving for invertebrates and they're diving for fish. So these photos were taken by Marina 2 years ago in Humber Bay Park. These are buffleheads. Male is here on the left and the female on the right. I would have challenged the group what they would name this duck if they had the opportunity. It is called a long-tailed duck. So these ducks are diving ducks. So these ducks are hooded mergansers, cousins to the red-breasted and common merganser, which we might be more familiar with. They nest in this area as well as through the boreal forest. They are fishing ducks, so they come down to the Great Lakes to find open water. So when we visited Humber Bay Park for the first time, we did a little skit here. This is Jim and Kieran.
Now it's our turn. Well, good luck, Buff. You're a really buff bufflehead. You'll do great.
Buff, and you're solid gold. You'll be a great dad. That's what I know.
Just as we were leaving Humber Bay, a red-tailed hawk was hunting on the path right in front of us, and Marina got this beautiful shot of the red-tailed hawk. On a winter walk at Crothers Woods, we were accompanied by 2 entomology students from the University of Western Ontario. They explained to us that insects survive the freezing temperatures of Ontario by filling the spaces between their cells with sugar. This draws the water out of the cells so they won't freeze and expand and explode. To prove it, they opened up a goldenrod ball gall and carved up the larva that was inside there so we could all have a taste, and it was sweet. Last February, we spent a wonderful morning at the Toronto Wildlife Centre at their location in Downsview Park. We met their ambassador snapping turtle and learned about how they rescue and rehabilitate wild animals. Here we are, thanks to scientists in school, dissecting owl pellets at the Church of the Resurrection and learning how to tell the difference between carnivore, herbivore, and omnivore mammal skulls. And finally, this was a late winter walk that we did at Humber Arboretum with Etienne Brule, Nick E. Pilar. Nick shared with us about the fur trade, and we had the opportunity of feeling some furs, and we also had the opportunity to taste maple sap, which was fresh out of the maple tree.